Welcome to the Pathways to Profitability podcast, personal tales of business success, where we hear local business owners' personal stories of their trials and tribulations that got them to where they are today. Here's your host, Cheryl Mucha, CEO of CFO Your Way.
Hello, and thank you so much for tuning in today. We're going to switch things up a little bit today, and we're going to talk about, are you running your business or is your business running you? Our special guest today is Michele Mollard from EOS Worldwide. Michele, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
So you've been a guest on the podcast prior, so our audience should know a little bit about you, but why don't you just give a smidget of your background just to refresh their memories?
Yeah, I've been a professional EOS implementer for 3 years. It has been a fantastic journey. I help organizations and owners get what they want from their business, providing them with vision, traction, healthy environments. So everybody crystal clear on the same page, knowing where they're going, how they're going to get there, how they're going to execute on that with accountability and discipline, and then having healthy teams. It's so much more fun when we have healthy teams. And I just love watching the journey they're on. It's actually an honor for me. That's how I really feel about it. I just facilitate the room. I'm not a true consultant in that respect. We're just facilitating the EOS model through them, and just to watch them grow. I had a session yesterday and it was just absolute joy and pride.
Yeah, it is fun to see the transition in entrepreneurs, business owners, and making their life more livable.
Yes.
And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So,
exactly.
So many business owners, their business is running them. It's not easy. I mean, been there, done that, know what it is, right? And how do you get past that, that point where the business is running you to the business kind of running itself?
Right.
And there's lots of statistics out there. You want to start touching on some of those facts and figures just for the audience?
For sure. No, for sure. And I'll make sure I'm glancing down a little bit just to make sure I get them proper. But so 40% of small business owners actually skip vacation, meaning they have an best of intention and they actually skip it. They just cancel it and move on. 57% of them don't even take a vacation. And I think the one thing to learn and think about now is also understanding that startups just getting in your first 5 years, its statistics is even less than that, right? And so that is the biggest thing that we have to think about. And I think there's grace that we need to show and understand if you're in that journey at the very, very beginning, that it is tough, right? You have to make money. It is, businesses make it or break it in the first 5 years. So I know Cheryl and I recognize that journey for your first 5 years may look a little bit different than what we're talking about today. But the bigger picture of all of that is you still got to take it. You got to find time. And we're going to touch on that and what that really is about, and really making sure that is something that you actually schedule first. And I think, I'm sure Cheryl, I haven't heard it yet, but Cheryl's probably had a person on here about personal fitness, right? You've got to go take care of yourself first. The business can't run without you. Put your mask on the plane first before you help others. All of these things are the biggest themes for this. And we just can't not take vacations. I think the other one that I thought was really, really fantastic is 85% take a vacation, yet they're still checking in. Right. Every single day there's a check-in, right. And so I just think it's tough. There's 15% have told that they felt just completely disconnected. That's it.
And realizing what the cost of not having that me time, that family time, that time to be able to step away and live life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's very important. And I think the one thing that we don't think about is, now I should actually say we don't think about it. We think about it a lot. We just don't internalize it, is you have to take time to stay clear and stay focused and stay you just need that. There are times, right? We're recording this in the time of CPA time, right? Every taxes are due and they're running 100 miles an hour. So there's seasons to it, right? But I know for a fact that I know for mine, she's gone for 3 weeks after it's all done. Like right before business taxes have to get filed and personal tax, right, all of that. And it's scheduled in every single year. Every single year it's planned.
Right. And
Right?
it's so important because when we burn out, because we don't stop, we're running at 110 miles per hour. What is the cost of that to the business, especially if you're not prepared for that period of burnout and having to be away from the business?
Right. No. And I think it's too, it's the burnout for you, but it's the cause and effect that you have on your staff. And realizing that I'll speak up, I've done it, that I get snippy, right? I mean, I'm just tired, I'm burnt out. And so then I'm not confident in my decisions because I'm just like reacting. I'm not casting a vision. I'm not cutting loose. I'm not spending the time. In the world of EOS, we call them clarity breaks, right? A vacation is a long clarity break. And you need that time to just let go. And it is amazing. I don't know how you are, Cheryl, but windshield time, I spend a lot in the car a little bit. And so I have my best thoughts at windshield time. I have my best thoughts, sadly and weirdly, in the shower and at 2 in the morning. That's not good, right? I'm not probably letting go as much, but all of those things, right? And so how do we just schedule time to make sure we do that? And you can easily do that on a vacation.
Exactly.
Right.
And, I just want to go back to the point you made about like, you get snippy with your team or you're not presenting your best self or whatever. Your team, your employees, they pick up on that and may take it personally. So it can really affect that relationship. And unfortunately, people may make the choice to walk out the door because they don't feel like they're being treated the way they should be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know it's going to hit, my head was going there too, is you do lose, and you're going to lose great people.
Exactly.
Right? It's not just, you're not going to lose the ones that are kind of B or C players. They're going to be like, whatever, I'll just weather the storm. It's their MO, right? It's kind of they're all those great people that just be like, I'm not being treated well. And honestly, you're modeling what they think you expect. So that might not be the case, right? But if you are a workaholic, then even though you bring a culture and it's maybe very apparent in your core values and all of those things, that is not what you're asking for, not obviously what you're doing, but you're modeling that, right? And so we always joke about in the world of EOS is be a good parent. That is what you are. Right. And so how do we model that to be a good parent and show people that time off is very important to you as well as an owner?
So as an owner, how do we prepare? And I know it doesn't happen overnight. We need to prepare over the long term. But what are some of the things that business owners can do to not only prepare to be out of the office for a week and disconnected for a week, but to have the confidence in their team to know that their business is in good hands? Because our business is our baby, right?
Exactly. Oh, no. And our baby's not ugly.
Right. Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about like, what are those things? Some of them are easy. Some of them are harder. Some of them take a longer period of time to accomplish. But what are some of those things that you would recommend to business owners?
Yeah. The thing that I would share the most is progress over perfection. Right. So just make a baby step. I think that we think, okay, I'm going to cut loose and I'm going to do, 12 weeks of vacation, right? It doesn't work. You're not set up to necessarily go from 0 to 1,000. The only thing is main to do that is, 100 is a Maserati really quickly and fun, but you can't really just do that. Right. And so just take baby steps. Right. So if you have never unplugged for an entire day, meaning that you've been on vacation, but you check in every single day, take one day and unplug. My plea to you is, and we'll talk about this, and I know Cheryl will dive into it more, but my plea to you is don't check in. And then what's going to happen if you have what we call right people, right seat? Watch them soar. Like sometimes we think that it will all crumble. And then when we finally do that, we're like, it didn't crumble. it's still standing. I have 4 walls still up. I have happy customers. I have happy employees. Everything got out on time, right? So sometimes we think that we need to be there. And so that would be my first step, is kind of more a mindset of, why do you really need to be there? Right. And there's a great quote, and I do want to read this, that Cheryl and I joked around about is, if your business cannot run without you, then you really don't own the business, you own a job. Right. And I just think that is so powerful to stop and think about that. And I'll read it again really quickly. It says, if your business cannot run without you, then you really don't own a business, you own a job. And so write that down, take a little soul search on that one, and then really feel like, why did you do this? It's all about passion for us as entrepreneurs. And so we have a passion to help, or a passion to solve, or a passion to win, whatever it is that why we did it, is get back there. And then Cheryl, I'm not want to try to steal the thunder and kind of take this journey on there, but what are we not letting go? Why are we not letting go of it? What processes need to be written? Like, there's a lot of steps to do it, but all of those steps that we can talk about, and I hope we do talk about it tactically, but technically will never happen if your mind isn't there as a business owner.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and it's planning. It's writing things down. We talk all about with our clients, all about SOPs and having processes on paper, you know, and it's not only the comfort for the business owner, of course, but what if the person that's in that seat all of a sudden isn't in that seat for no fault of anyone's? Unfortunately, life happens. Tragedies happen in life.
Lotteries happen.
Exactly. So, what happens if one of your key people is here today and not here tomorrow?
Correct. Yeah. And what's the backup plan for that? Right. So let's use that. You are the key person.
Right.
So what happened? I mean, as business owners, the lottery present doesn't probably excite us as much, because again, it's our passion project, right? And so if it's, 50,000, we're like, yeah, that's thanks. But right, it's not like we're taking off, right? And so it's very different for every different people, but using it proverbially, right? Of the, kind of winning the lottery, there is a proverbial bus, not good. But how do you start doing that, right? And so here's a suggestion is, when you take that one day off, let's just test it and see how it goes. And then what maybe does go wrong, right? And let's just learn from it and let's document it. And then let's get teams together and talk about it, discuss it. What was the root cause? What was happening? So my first question to anything that kind of goes a little bit of awry is, was there a process written? If the answer is yes, was the process followed? If the answer is yes again, then process is wrong, right? So then if you back it up and say, was there a process written? Yes. Was it followed? No. Why not? Because you might have a people problem, because the process is wrong. So just even taking that, and if you can do this, and all about this is, again, progress over perfection is building up to a week-long vacation. You can't just say, if you've been in it, literally taking no vacations or on vacations and checking in every single day, to flipping the switch to 12 weeks without touching base. Your systems aren't there, right? And it's sad to say, sorry for the reality check, your systems and processes aren't there. But that's the beauty of this, is start now. And so you and I started this conversation by saying, hey, what happens if we talk about this? I didn't want to talk about this in May and June. I wanted to talk about this now. I mean, some people, we're recording this, might even be on spring break and having these same feelings. I'm not sure when it'll get launched, right? But it's the same thing. So how do we talk about this so that your summer vacation, the whole month of August, I can't tell you, there are 649 implementers around the world. And I would say 20% of them take the whole month of August off.
Right.
The entire month of August off. No checking in. Now, another tool. They have executive assistants. They have virtual assistants, whatever you want to call them, team, whatever, right? Whatever that is. But they have people keeping things together, but they have articulated the process so they can go.
Right. And that's, that goes back to having the right people in the organization that you trust. They know what needs to be done, when, how, where. But back to your point of it needs to be documented. Like it needs, start today, just jotting it down. And then over time, it formulates.
Right. Yes. Well, and I think jotting it down too. And so sometimes people will jot it down thinking it's right and then hand it off to somebody. So now you have to have the plan of who's going to take over doing what, right? So if I'm going to have I have a virtual assistant, so if I'm going to have her answer all my emails while I'm gone, I'm not going to touch them unless it's hair on fire and it's like literally a box. It'll say hair on fire, right? So I'm not going to touch them. So I need to understand what that process looks like. So I may think I know. I hand it to her and I say, what's not right with this? What's not clear? Right. So that's another way to do it. A little checks and balances. Again, think what you think it is, but then give it to the person that needs to do it. Have them do it for a period of time while you're still there.
Right.
To catch them, to help them, right? However you're phrasing from that. And then be able to, by the time you leave, that thing is seamless. They have all their questions, right? Because if you just give it 2 weeks before and say, here, do this.
Right. There's no time to vet it.
Yeah, that it is a great.
Yeah. Because I know for me and for many years, it was all up here.
Yes.
Right. And it all makes sense when it's up here. Right. And everything's moving, everything's shaking, everything's going great.
Absolutely.
And then when you take it from here and put it on paper, like,
oh.
And then it's like, well, yeah, it looks like I can get from point A to point B, but there's 3 points in between there that are really critical that need attention.
And sometimes we're so close to the process, we actually forget we actually do those steps.
Exactly.
Right. And so when you say do payroll and it looks like this, there's a step in there that you might have to actually fund the 401k that you've forgotten.
Or make sure there's cash in the bank account for the payroll company to draw, right?
Right? No, exactly. But we are so close to those processes sometimes, and we can do it in our sleep, especially as owners. We started the company on the backs of our backs, right? On our backs, and we did it all. And so when you're starting to grow and hand that off, and then ultimately getting to the point where is how do you go and enjoy your time off? Right. This is all what it's about, is that you have to kind of let go of the vine. It's the thing we have in EOS, is just letting go of the vine. But it's not just like, wee, right? Then you're going to ask for problems, right? I mean, you set yourself up for failure, the company up for failure, and the person that you're trying to empower up for failure. And I think that's another thing, Cheryl, if you don't mind me having a little tangent on this one. Just think for a moment too, like when you let go of the vine and you empower your staff to temporarily take something and you do it right. And they're absolutely have the right skills and, aptitude, right? Knowledge, skills, aptitude to do it. Like it's empowering to them. They're like, oh my goodness, the owner trusts me to do this, and this. I'm so excited. And you'll watch them step up if they really want to. And it's not to please you. It's wired in their DNA to love what you just gave them and to run with it. And so I think we have to also think about that. Like as owners, I've definitely said to myself, it's just easier for me to do it. I can do it in 2 seconds.
It's easier today to just do it yourself, but to invest that time in your people, the long-term effect of that far outweighs the time you're going to save today. So far. And then here's another thought to it. What happens if it never comes back to your plate? Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've just delegated something they did so well, and now you're elevating your game to your greatest value in the organization. They found something that they absolutely love and are great at. And it's like, oh my goodness. Right. And so we talk about this as kind of getting ready for vacation and how do you have time and do this is just fundamentally smart if you want to grow a business, if you want to scale that business, if you don't want to be the bottleneck. And so, but there's that too, right? So sometimes you're going to go and delegate it and then you're never going to get it back. And you can't be upset about that, Mr. Business Owner or Mrs. Business Owner, because that's what really you're striving for, even though you may not get there. I would challenge you that that's what you want. Right. Yeah. And back to the mindset of the person who is now empowered to take on that task. Think about they're more likely to be a long-term employee.
Absolutely. Right. And they may even come to you and be like, what's next?
Exactly.
What? Like, how excited would be like,
let me give you this slice of the pie too, right?
want more? Do you want more? I mean, and right. And so, and then not being funny, let's squirrel for a minute. And then how do I clone that?
Right. Exactly.
Right? So how do I find more of that in my business? But they're there. I really, really challenge owners and even managers. Like if there's managers speaking, hearing to this, this doesn't apply just to the owners. You have as much power, if sometimes not more, depending on how big the organization is, to be able to create this culture of, we call it delegate and elevate. So how do you delegate something to elevate your game? And then you elevate everybody's, right? I mean, it's not just you elevating and everybody else is, they're still coming up, right? So they're taking on more, they're taking on more, and then they're coming to you and saying, give me more. Talk about elevation, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it just makes, we can talk about culture and all that, but it just brings all of that together to make the organization the place that everyone wants to be.
Yeah. And then you start breeding a culture of accountability so that the culture then is accountable to each other and you don't have to. And oh, by the way, the point of this is you can go away and the team will hold each other accountable. So if something was supposed to be done from Sally to Jim, Jim's going to call Sally and say, you were supposed to, Michelle or Cheryl's gone. What are we doing to get this done? Not calling Michelle or Cheryl and saying, hey, Sally's not playing well in the sandbox.
Right.
Like that's not our place as owners. That is not what we're supposed to be doing. Right. And so how do we do that? And again, it goes back to testing this. You can't rip the Band-Aid off. Well, you could. I don't suggest it. It might be, you might come back and have a lot of, problems, right?
Right. Exactly.
So how do you test these things?
And that taking one day off turns into taking 3 days off, turns into taking 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
And having that comfort and ability and knowing that your team is going to do what needs to be done and that they know what needs to be done.
Correct. And they may fix things and do things a little bit differently. And when you come back, be like, how did it go? And they're like, well, we figured out this, we did it this way, or we want to do it this. And now you got better processes and things are get streamlined. I mean, so again, like go on vacation. Like if you have the right people, go on vacation and watch people soar. Right. And I think that's what kind of it is. We don't sometimes think or know the power of our employees. Now, again, if you don't have, right people in the organization, that this doesn't work. And so the backup step to that is maybe even before even the test run of taking a day is making sure of that. So, and I think the one thing, Cheryl, that may be kind of the next step to this is as you try 1 or 2 days, 3 or 4 days, going back to putting your mask on first is, as implementers, I set my vacation for the whole year, January 1. So I sit down with my husband and I said, what do we want to do? Where are we going? How does this look? Right. So we run on a family vision traction organizer. So we have those for organizations, but I have a family plan. I know where we want to be in 3 years. I know what we need to solve this year. I need to know where we're going in 10 years. What does that look like? Not our student loans, but kids' student loans paid off, or all those things in there. So I know very clearly where we are. And so I can say, okay, we're going to go skiing in Utah this week. We're going to go to Ireland in September. And I put them on my calendar first. My virtual assistant knows exactly when she can schedule my meetings and not meeting for the whole entire year. And so when my customers come in and want their days with me, we have session days. When they want that, she knows very clearly it's not an option to trump that. Right. And so I guess that's a next step. Maybe I jumped too far, Cheryl. So my apologies.
No. But no, just along that line, it goes back to putting ourselves first and the importance of putting ourselves first. And the whole thing falls apart if we can't be the best and bring our best to the table every single day.
Yep. No, and it's interesting. We're very busy December, January for our annual season, sometimes February, depending on how big the practices are. And it is amazing. So it's planned that we all get together every February. We had 509 of us in person in Dallas, and the energy, even though we're all exhausted, the energy, the the camaraderie, the excitement, the replanning, right? The next quarter for us, we run off weird little quarters, but the next quarter for us, all of those things is how do you start to build a team that does that for them too, right? Is how do we bring, and how do you work that around your vacations, right? And so I'm going to take even one day, like I know that my husband wouldn't love it, but if I got up one morning and said, hey, I need to do my business clarity break, right? This is our family clarity break, but I need to spend 4 hours just mapping out the next quarter.
Right.
I mean, I have the luxury of not having to do it on vacation, but some implementers do because it's where they're clearest, right? I mean, we just got 4 inches or 5 inches of snow falling. So that's probably not somebody's clarity break. They want a beach and white and sand beaches and, you know.
Now you're talking my language.
I know I am, right? Aqua water, right? And that's where they get their clarity break. I mean, go find your soulmate as far as where that finds it. Like, you know, usually for me, actually, it's actually in a parking lot overlooking some water. I find, like Michigan, I have a lot of water around me. And so if I need to find it in the morning, I get up in the morning and I go there. It's my clarity breaks every Sunday morning. And I'll go to where I live right on Lake Michigan. And so I'll drive over there and sit there and be like, you know, I usually contemplate nothing for about a half hour. And then it all starts flowing. So I got us off track a little bit, but it's the same concept, just a bigger magnitude, right?
So what would your number one recommendation be to our listeners to get started, to be able to take that time away from their baby, their business?
I would say the first step is your mindset. You've just got to understand that it's the greater good. It's what you should be doing. Now, again, if there's anybody on here in your first 3 years of business, I get it. But keep driving for that, right? You started this business because you have a passion for it. And if you can no longer execute on that passion because you're burnt out, then it doesn't do any good. But so that would be the first step, is just really even taking an hour, 2 hours on a Saturday and Sunday and said, I got to undo this. I've got to figure out how this is changing how you think about it, putting yourself first, putting the long-term greater good business first, and saying, as a leader of this organization, if I'm not clear on my vision and I'm not clear in the way I articulate that vision, then I cannot bring the whole team along. And so I think recognizing that even if it's on a small scale for a day off, to just have a clarity break and you know, half the day maybe just getting your mind wrapped around it, and the other half literally going with family and getting out of the business is really, really important. So that's what I would say is the first step, because if you don't have it, you can write the processes. You can do kind of the middle of our conversation today. You can do all those things, but if you're never going to let go, I guess it helps because there are processes, but if you're writing the processes for you to do them, you already know.
And it's baby steps.
It is baby steps. No, it is.
And I know for myself,
I would say
in the last, I would say 6 months or so, maybe 8 months now, I've let go of a lot, and it has changed not only myself, but the business and the team as well.
Right. Yeah. How did you, what was, I mean, if we have time, what was your kind of, what was the aha moment for you in that? Like,
the aha moment for me was, I want to retire someday. I mean, I take time away. I totally disconnect? I'm going to say, nah. I mean, I went on a cruise last year, so I was kind of forced to totally disconnect. But as soon as we were on land, I was like, what's going on? Right. But, yeah, it's working towards that.
Gotcha.
Being able to retire and know that my baby, CFO Your Way, is in good hands.
Yeah. That's, again, that what are the baby steps to get us all there? Right. I do joke around with the companies that I work with, and they'll say, oh, we're 20 years from retirement. And I said, good. So what's the plan? They're like, what do you mean, what's the plan?
I'm not thinking about it yet, right?
You have to start a company with the end in mind.
Exactly.
Right. And so that's something for you guys to chew on as business owners, is you need to know what the end looks like. Right. And if you don't, I mean, maybe it's, you know, it is 20 years away, but do you want to sell it? Do you want to give it to your kids? And oh, by the way, if your kids are 2 right now and you want to give it to your kids, they'll be 22. Somewhere in that journey, have a conversation with them if they even want it, because now your plan is not going to work.
Right. Exactly.
Anyway.
So thank you, Michele. There's so much more I know we can touch on, but our audience can reach out to you or I to talk further on if any tidbit there is of interest of them. Happy to have those conversations. But thank you so much for being here with me today and sharing your unbelievable wealth of knowledge.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure. I'm honored to be a guest on your podcast. It's fantastic.
Thank you, and enjoy the snow.
Oh yes.
I'm waiting for beach time. You can enjoy the snow.
I'll take it. I live in the perfect state for me.
And to our audience, thank you so much for listening in. Again, Michele is just a wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure more than happy to take the time to have individual conversations. You can see all of our episodes at pathwaystoprofitability.com. Check them out and have a wonderful day.
That's it for today's episode of Pathways to Profitability. Remember to ask yourself, where can I pay my success forward today?